In the southern hemisphere, the seasons are reversed. We got Taurus. We're in Taurus now. They're in Scorpio. When it's springtime here, it's fall there. But the books on astrology were written from the northern hemisphere mostly. So many people who learned astrology in the southern hemisphere have learned the cardinal fixed mutable, fire, water, air, earth. And they didn't learn the seasons and the light increasing or not lighttime increasing. So many people believe Libra, in the southern hemisphere, Libra is springtime and Aries is the fall. And Capricorn is the summer and Cancer is the winter. The signs of, they believe they're the same as the northern hemisphere. That's not correct, because the rulerships aren't the same. Like when it's summer, how's it going to be Capricorn? When it's middle of winter, it's not Leo. When it's mating season and everybody's being proud and strutting and going out to push their stuff and to mate, that's Aries. That's the impulse of spring. It's not, oh, let's go out and be nice and maybe we'll find someone we like to meet to be able to mate. It doesn't work like that. Not nature. So to me, if astrology is just a symbol, you can look at these things mathematically, symbolically, and make associations to interpret charts. And you won't be, in some ways you'll be right up, and in other ways it won't be that far off. But if astrology is connected to nature and how your soul is connected to life and what your potentials are, it's much more inclusive and sensitive to that. And these changes are really important. So when you look at this is Southern Hemisphere chart, you can see here's the Libra. It's almost like you took one half. These are two charts, but if you fold them in the middle, they go back to back. The one on the right would be on the back of the others. So you would see that the red of Aries would be on the back of the green of Libra. The Taurus would be on the back of Scorpio. You just look at, if you took your chart and you looked it up on a piece of paper and you put it up to a light and you turned it around the opposite and looked it through the back way, the other side, you would have the Southern Hemisphere horoscope. So this just shows it. So it looks like a mirror that's reversed. So the pattern is reversed. The signs, the planet signs are reversed. So if it was if the sun in Libra becomes the sun in Aries in the southern hemisphere, both are cardinal, but very different quality. Okay, with the daylight and nighttime. So, okay, I'm going to take one chart to quickly go through this. This is Paul Hogan, Crocodile Dundee. He was an actor. He had a movie, Crocodile Dundee. He was the redneck guy that's out with the crocodiles and in the wilderness. Let's just say not the most socially cultured person, but naturally adventurous person. So he represented the Aries ideal. Somebody just go out into the wilderness and take care of himself, and he could survive. And there he was, the bravado. So by his nature, now this is just the actor of the character. So it's taking a jump from there. But if you did the Northern Hemisphere chart, he's October 8th, he would be the Libra with a Leo moon. So you have the proud showing person, but you have the Libra, this sweet, sensitive, sharing, indecisive. But as soon as, if you reverse the signs, immediately he becomes the Aries with Aquarius moon. So you have the Aries, who's impulsive, reckless, and adventurous. He really lived up to the Aries role. And instead of the Leo, he would have the Aquarius moon, and it would be much more knowledgeable, and he has his fixed ways of knowing how to do things and how to get around. So to me, this Libra sun, the Aries sun, it was instantly on seeing it. I've done a lot of charts just to compare the two. But if you were encouraging Paul Hogan, doing the Northern Hemisphere chart and encouraging him to be sweet, pleasant, follow his vision, you're not encouraging him in a way that he's going to be content with. You're encouraging him in a way that's going to take him away from the quality of his life. When you say, no, you're supposed to be impulsive, go for things, be a little bit more reckless and be more courageous, just be knowledgeable of what you're doing, you would be encouraging him to go more. So if you had a kid and you're encouraging one way rather than the other, that's a huge difference. So reinforcing their attitude of what's going to make them healthy or happy. Okay, so these are advanced charts. They're not so much available yet. One day I'll get my computer program made so you can get these charts done. So normally on a computer, you get a chart that looks like this. They don't show up that good on the screen, so I've made the sign divisions of the zodiac thicker so you can see them. But here's the chart would be Paula, and on the computer printouts, I always put the ascendant on the left. So here we have the planets in the houses, the sun in Libra. But if you do, and none of the computer's programs do the Southern Hemisphere chart properly right now. They all do it like a Northern Hemisphere chart. So what you do when you have a Southern Hemisphere chart, you take this chart, you print it out. I always color in the aspects and shade in the half below the horizon. We'll get to this. But what I do is this is the same chart, but what I've done is I've made an X over where the symbol is for Aries, Taurus. For each of the signs of the zodiac, crossed them out, and on each edge I've written the two signs, the opposite sign. So this was Sag, I crossed it out, put Gemini, Gemini. This was Scorpio, I crossed it out, I put Taurus, Taurus. So everything else stays the same. The planets' aspects, the planets' houses, they stay in the same place. It's only the signs that reverse. So only the attitude changes, not the circumstances, not the aspects, just the attitude. It's the important thing, especially if you're trying to come to completion of your life or a spiritual understanding. So when you write, this is just showing you very quickly. At a later stage, we have a whole workshop on just the Southern Hemisphere horoscope. But right now, just cross out the ones on both sides, write the signs in twice. So when you see the signs twice, you know you're automatically in a Southern Hemisphere chart. But you can still, all the ephemeris, everything you look, are still putting the planets, the transits, and the planets will still be in the Northern Hemisphere. So you still put them in like they're in Scorpio, but you're interpreting them like they're in Taurus. Because you have to change the whole system to be in the Southern Hemisphere or in the Northern Hemisphere. So this is a big difference. But for the natal charts for now, you get the chart, you just change the signs, and it reminds you to deal with the right attitudes. He's born in the springtime, it's Aries. Even though it's October 8th in the Southern Hemisphere, it's still springtime. Okay, so that's basically, I just wanted to show you this little bit, and you have it, so you have these charts to look over with. But this is a simple way of using the technology we have today, getting the chart, just crossing out the signs and put the opposite signs in, and you have the Southern Hemisphere chart. Of course, the fire, water, air, earth elements, which is put on the top corner, they shouldn't be there because you'd wipe those out because they would be different. You'd have to, the elements would be different. Cardinal, fixed, mutable would be the same, but fire, water, air, and earth would be changed. And yeah, so the point, so this is just basically the way to go. This is